Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Pat Rainville. My business is Relax Life Coaching because I enjoy bringing out topics and things that help people to relax. And some of that comes in the form of these YouTube videos where we'll talk about certain topics like we will today, or in some of the oracle card readings that I do that bring up the energies for the month. Or I also did a video this month on let's just breathe together to help relax. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. Today's topic is the challenge of patience and some helpful reminders. This topic just kind of came to my mind as I was thinking of, and asking Spirit, how could I be of service? And in the monthly reading for August, we had two cards very much related to that, about the energies for this month. We had Archangel Jophiel with the message of patience, and we had this card about, I don't know if you can see it, deep freeze. But patience can be really challenging, because at times it can be very frustrating when things don't seem to be moving forward. It's kind of like when you're stuck in traffic and nothing's going anywhere. And it can be really hard sometimes not to let it irritate you completely and, sometimes get us into a little bit of a rant. And we want something to move forward in some area of our life. Maybe we want a relationship to move forward. Maybe we want, a different outcome for something, and just, nothing seems to be moving. Maybe we want, and part of the difficulty with it, I think sometimes, is that we can't see or know, what the outcome is going to be, when it's going to move forward, how it's going to change, when that's going to happen, when it's going to be different. So it can be a really frustrating place to be sometimes. So it can be helpful to have certain ways of dealing with it or certain reminders about it. And I certainly think that, in this day and age, we've all become very accustomed to getting things, instantaneously. I mean, we have phones that are mini computers. You can send a message to someone instantly. You can send money to someone instantly. I mean, we're very accustomed to having things in a much quicker way and not having to wait. So I think that's part of why we have this difficulty sometimes with patience when we want things to move forward, and they just don't seem to be going anywhere. Or, sometimes we also do feel too, I think personally as people, that if we're not doing something towards the outcome that we're looking for, we feel a little bit of guilt of not being productive, like maybe that we're being too lazy. But, there are times when it just seems like no matter what you do, something doesn't seem to go anywhere. And that can be, again, frustrating. So today, I want to just, I guess, come on with some helpful reminders for dealing with that. And, we all have different ways that we could use to maybe help ourselves to be a little bit more patient personally. I know I have my challenges with it, but I've also been credited by employers and other people that I've worked with and friends for being a very patient person and patient with other people. So, I'll take that when it's sent my way and just appreciate it. So maybe that's part of why I was guided to come on today with this subject. But anyways, some of the helpful reminders, I guess, that Spirit came forward with is, the cycles of nature and the astrological cycles. Okay. In this image that we have of this lion in the deep freeze, which came up as part of our reading for the month of August, nature also goes into a time, and having grown up in New England, I can certainly remember when I was younger, we had very bitterly cold winters and snow piled so high. And it's a time of a very deep standstill. where nothing's moving. Most people are hibernating. They're in their houses. You don't see a lot of people over the course of the winter. But it's also a very deeply restorative time for nature. Nature herself is very wise, and she has an abundance of life. I mean, there are more species of animals and just more species of life on this planet than we can even document. But it regenerates itself. It's nature's many processes in nature, some for animals, some in the cycles of the seasons, all have periods of dormancy where there's just, things aren't moving. And that's okay. There are times in our life where we just need to rest and restore. And this month we've been in the energy of the Mercury retrograde, which is part of what I spoke about in my August reading. And Mercury retrograde is a time when the energy can feel a little heavier. And, we can get some false starts, or things that you planned on seem to work out. I was told by a coach of mine that it's a good time or a good way to work with that energy is to remember the prefix RE. Well, you put re in front of everything, So in order to remember, Mercury retrograde is a time where we're kind of reviewing a lot of things. We might have reunions. You might meet up with old friends that you haven't seen in a long time, or run into somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. Or you might rejoin a former group of people or employer. It's a great time to reorganize. Okay. But in other ways, it can be very frustrating. Mercury can mess with electronics, and we have electronic difficulties. We might have to resend emails. You might have to rewrite something. You might have to do something more than once. And that can be a little frustrating and can contribute to our sense of impatience. Like, I'm just trying to get this done, and you keep running into problems. But Mercury retrograde is a great time to relax, to revitalize, to nourish your own spirit, because rest is important. It's important for us as human beings. It's important for our soul and our spirit. We live in a very demanding world these days, where we are constantly bombarded with knowledge, information, things demanding our attention or our response. And so when things aren't going smoothly, and we need to have we've forgotten what patience is like. We've forgotten what it's like to have patience with a process, or patience with another person and their process. Okay. So, that was one of the first things they wanted me to pass along as a helpful reminder. Remember the cycles of nature. We have seasonal cycles, and there's always periods where it seems like nothing's moving forward. And again, the frustrating part of that is that we can't see how or when there's going to be an end to it, or when it's going to move forward again. But it's just meant to be a time of rest, rejuvenation. Sometimes some of our best ideas come to us when we're kind of just hanging out doing nothing, when you're searching so hard for an answer, and you finally just let go of it and decide to relax. I'm like, you know what? And kind of walk away from it for a little bit. Those times of rest, sometimes it's when our best ideas come to us. And it also, if we have times where we need to be quiet and slow down and take care of ourselves, we get back in tune with our own rhythms and our own natural, intuitive abilities. And a lot of times our energy comes back. It gets revived. So anyways, that's one of the reminders they wanted me to pass your way. Now, I myself was challenged with patience this month because there's a situation in my life that I've been really wanting for it to change. And it just, obviously it doesn't feel like it's moving forward quickly enough for me. And part of the frustration of that is you feel like sometimes you can feel like you're stuck, like you're trapped in something, like, oh, am I ever going to get out of this? And as a spiritual person, I always reach out to spirit and ask for help. And sometimes it just didn't seem like I was getting any definite direction. So I was very frustrated by that. So, when we get cards like we did from Jophiel that remind us that your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize, but they just need some patience. Again, it's that reference to nature. When you plant a seed in the ground, it has a period of gestation. Okay. And where it's not going to grow to a tall, full-grown plant or tree overnight. Okay. There's an element of patience that's involved there to see that come to fruition, and time, patience and time. But so one of the other reminders that they wanted me to present in this video was that of divine intervention. Okay. Because one of the days that I was feeling a little bit frustrated, I pulled from my little angel card deck here. And the message I got was just that, divine intervention. You may feel frustrated because something stalls or comes to a standstill. Progress seems painfully slow. Yet this is a blessing. It's divine intervention at work. When the timing is perfect, when the timing is in perfect harmony, all will come to fruition. Okay. So it's that reminder of divine intervention. And what I was reminded of during that time wasn't just for me, but in this time too, when we have so much craziness going on in the world and drama, especially here in the United States with the election and things like that, there's a lot of that's out there to distract us in the physical world. And we're, of this, when are we going to get past this? When are we going to be able to finally get back to a place where things are, where there's not so much upheaval, but there is a lot of, there's a lot of injustice that's going on. There's a lot of corruption that is going on. And what Spirit reminded me is that they are working behind the scenes. Okay. But sometimes it takes time and it takes patience for that to be dismantled so that the new can come forward and we can progress in new ways that are better for everybody. Okay. If I'm looking to the side, it's because I wrote some notes about what I was getting for what to present to you today. So I'm just checking in on those. I was also reminded of, when things happen like, I was reminded personally of September 11th, and maybe that's because we're coming in on September and we're coming in on that anniversary. There was probably people that day who ran into frustrating delays. I know there was. I remember them telling stories about it where, they couldn't get to work on time, or, they needed patience for the delays that they were experiencing. But on that day, it saved their life. It was literally divine intervention. And so sometimes, Spirit comes in with that message about that when we're frustrated with patience, because they're like, there are other unseen factors at work that we cannot see yet, that we can't see them in motion. So we can't see that outcome. Or how it's playing into our outcome. But it generally means there's a better one that's coming down the road for us. Okay. That was one of the other messages that they were reminding us about patience, is that of divine intervention. Sometimes it's divine intervention at work. The unseen loving forces are working behind the scenes to help us to what we want to get to, but they're also looking out for what's in our best and highest good and the best outcome for us. Sometimes there's, important details that we've missed too, and we need to go back and maybe address those things or develop more qualities in ourselves. There's more things that we need to develop. So a lot of patience is patience with your own process as well. Okay. So things need nurturing and development. Sometimes there's things going on behind the scenes. And, sometimes it's a diversionary element with Spirit's intervention, because, maybe something that we're going after, that looks really bright, shiny to us, that we think would be ideal for us, wouldn't necessarily be. It's our mind can deceive us sometimes, and things look really, bright and shiny and pretty on the surface, but ultimately, they may not be in our best interests for whatever reason. In fact, I want to say I'm reminded of Garth Brooks, who wrote a song about that, about unanswered prayers, about a relationship that he really wanted to have that didn't work out. And ultimately down the road, years later, he found out that he was better off for it. So another message that had come to me while I was frustrated was this reminder to trust. And that can be difficult too sometimes when you can't see that outcome that you're looking for. It says, all will work out well. We, your angels, are here to nurture, protect, and heal you. Trust in the healing power of our love. We love you more than you will ever know. And I think that is very much a challenge with patients, because when things aren't moving forward, we become distrusting of the fact that something's going to improve or that something's going to change for the better. And I know for myself, I found if you can be in the moment, okay, and accept what is, ask Spirit if there's anything you need to do or change, or what would be best for you, what's the best next step to take. You will be guided. You can trust your own intuitive ability, your own hunches about where to go and what to do. And mostly, enjoy the time. Sometimes, if I've been stuck in traffic and it's really frustrating because you need to get someplace on time, throw on some music, sing a song, or sometimes I'll sit in the quiet and just be like, you know what? In this moment, there's no one needing my attention. There's nothing that's demanding my responsibility. I can just enjoy whatever's going on. Or no, I don't want to say whatever's going on if you're stuck in the middle of a thing, but you get the idea of what I mean. You can take a moment and just, part of being in the present moment is appreciating whatever's there. Maybe that delay is saving you or is a blessing in some other way. Or maybe you just have a moment of quiet where, you don't have to, no one's needing your attention. No one's nagging at you for something. You can maybe listen to a podcast or a great song on the radio. And as we relax into that moment, we forget about the need to move forward. And then the next thing we know, it starts moving forward, or we get a lead on a different direction. So anyways, I hope these are helpful to you. Please do, like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below what your feelings are about having patience, or if you have any particular method that you use or like, or, if any of this resonated with you. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's my endeavor right now to get back on these YouTube videos a little bit more often, presenting different topics. And so I'd love to hear back from you about what you enjoy, and maybe what you'd like to see going forward. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care, everyone.